Hi, I have a KDL75W850C TV. I'm going to try and fix it. The fault is, you turn it on, and that's it. That's all you get, blink. And then the bottom light will flash. It won't flash because I said that's what will happen. There it goes. 3 red flashes. Oh, more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's an error code, which means that the backlight has failed. Now, from what I've researched, what happens is one LED in the backlight fails, and usually what people do is they pull it apart and replace that one LED. But I figured every LED in there is the same age and has experienced the same conditions, and if one of them failed, there's a good chance that there's another one not far behind it. So I decided to buy a complete kit to replace the whole backlight, which is a difficult job. But we'll see what happens. This will either turn out to be a how-to video or a how not to video. But I will document my efforts and see what happens. My plan is I'm going to use that box as a table, well, to extend that fold-out table you see underneath it, and lie it down on there and pull it apart. And I've followed some instructions from another video that I'll link in the description, and let's see what happens. So lying a 75-inch TV down on its face by yourself is not an easy thing to do. So what I've done is I've put heaps of sticky tape from the TV to the top of the box. Lots and lots of sticky tape. Sticky tape, mate. And now, what I'm going to do, what I'm hoping is that I can just lie this down onto there, and the tape will hang onto the TV, and my TV will be face down safely on the box. So I'll try and find a good spot for the camera, and you can either watch me fail, which will be entertaining, or maybe this will work. I should have got this out of the way first. See? Turn the camera around. So that worked. Sorry, but good for me, it worked. So now, this table underneath, I should be able to pick up one end of it and get those legs to fold out. Hopefully. It could be a little bit tricky too. And then I'll have it up and I can get around it and pull the thing apart and see what happens. So of course what I found is when I lift up one end of the table, the TV just starts to slide off the box. So I've had to put even more sticky tape all along here, and even a little bit here, along there, to stop that from happening. And now I'm going to try and get those table legs out. Box can slide off the table a little bit. That doesn't bother me too much. That's one end. The other end. Oh shit. Oh shit, I nearly lost it. Well, I should have put that thing to lock the legs in. Okay. Huh. Okay, ready for fixing. I think ready for something. Okay, sticky tape gone, all centered up nicely on the table, and the first thing I'm going to do is pull this cover off, which has a lot of screws, and after that I'm going to go around this metal edging and pull that off and see what's under there. Hopefully there's some little clips or something easy that allows me to take that off of the panel itself. I'm hoping I can just leave the panel on the box and then I can go fix the backlight down over there and put it back on here. I don't know if that's how it'll go, but let's see. Okay, I've undone every screw in sight from this. This is a short clip that I can look back on, if it focuses, just to see what length and what kind of screw came out of which hole. Even the little ones down there, I'm not sure if I had to do them. Plastic screws, plastic, metal screw, big metal screw. Okay, that should just lift off. Oh, I forgot one here. Middle screw. Okay, that just lifted straight off. Well, nearly. There was some, it felt like some clips around here. I had to work it a little bit, but not much. Back panel is off. Now, I have seen some dodgy repair videos on this. There is a line on this called backlight error. And what some people do is they just disconnect that. And then when this detects a fault, it can't tell that main control board to shut down. So the TV will operate, but you won't have a full backlight. Be aware if you buy one second hand, that may have happened. So always bring up an image that's like a flat grey image or a white image and check that all your backlight is on if you're going to buy one second hand. I'm not actually sure what to pull off next. I don't know if I need to attack all this stuff with a screwdriver or just do the edge or what, but I'll figure it out and I'll get back to you. So I've had a look at some other videos and they take off this board and they take off this board, but I'm not convinced that's necessary yet. I don't know why they can't just stay on that chassis. So what does need to come out is the speakers, which are pretty easy. I think they just lift off and there's just some spade connectors there. This will just disconnect and this speaker has to come off, and then these clips, this one, this one, this one, this, those bits of tape have to lift up. That, yeah, and then they undo the edge. So I'm gonna pull that stuff off now. So this just unplugged pretty easy, and the speakers unplugged pretty easy. I had to pull those through there. There was this little handful of screws and these clips. Now it looks like to take this one off, I've got to undo that. And same on this side, so I'll do that next. Okay, after some more screwdriver twiddling, this comes off. You don't have to undo these, they can stay on there. These come off. And next I'm gonna take off this. So I guess I have to pull that tape off and get the cables off it and just undo, looks like 5 screws. Okay, I've undone those 5 screws holding this. It would have been better before I did that, because when you do that this board flops around, to remove this cable here. Now to remove this cable you need to push on the sides quite firmly and pull it out. Do that before you undo these screws. And this should come off now. Okay. Now I've got to undo these ribbons and take this delicate looking board off. So I've done one of these, and the way to do it, this little black strip hinges upwards. See, once that's hinged upwards, the ribbon can just pull out. And this driver board is free. So I've now taken out all of these little screws along the edge, along both sides and the top. Now the bottom only had one little screw here and one little screw here, and it appears to be free on the ends. I don't know if that whole thing will pull out, but I'm about to try and remove this edging by just pulling it out now. Let's see what happens. So that was pretty straightforward. With the sides, I just started with the bottom. I tried not to twist it because I didn't want the front side of it to push into the LCD panel. So I just grabbed it from the bottom and just used the leverage to pull the whole thing off. There are some clips, so it does take a bit of force in a couple of spots. And it all pretty much just pulled off. Nice and easy. I'm not sure what's next. I think it's got something to do with these clips. I just pulled off these little corner clips, no screws. They just pull off. It's a little bit of adhesive on the side. So my next step is to remove this cover and this cover, which should just be these screws here. Oh, and these little black ones. Some little black ones there. So I've taken the screws out of these two covers, and you can see they're hanging onto these little hooks here. Hang on, can I turn the light on? No. So you just need to slides out. That little tab slid out of there. Now for this side. I'm lifting slightly on this just to get that tab up. Come on, you. This one has a tab locking it in there, and another one in there. I'm going to have to put the phone down to get this one off. Okay, these covers are off. Now we have these drive boards here connected with a ribbon in the middle. I'm going to leave that done up, and I'm just going to try and unclip these and bring those out. These gold ribbons here go to the panel underneath. Okay, I'm not 100% sure what to do next, but along this edge there are some little bits that are adhered on. See that tape? I'm going to pull all of these off. I don't know if I should or not, but I'm gonna. And see these clips? I don't know if you can see that. I'm pretty sure those clips are what's holding the panel and the chassis together. So I'm going to try and bend those out a little bit. I don't know what's going on here at all. And see if I can get at least some of the chassis to lift off the panel maybe on one corner, just carefully. I think I better have some dinner first. Okay, so these little clips, hang on, I want to turn the light on. So these little clips go around the edge, and I believe they need to be opened. I'm not sure why, because if I lift that up now, I can actually see in there the glass of the panel staying on the cardboard. But I think these need to be open. This white adhesive, I'm pretty sure that's just holding in the backlight. I don't think that's got anything to do with the panel. On the sides, there is adhesive like you'll see here. There's a bit of tape there. That seems to be holding these ribbons in. And I'm pretty sure those ribbons would attach to the panel somehow. Oh, well, half sure. These clips, I just undo them. I've got a very small screwdriver and I just go in like that. That one just sort of does up again. But these ones opened pretty easily, like that. If I move up here, it should be a fresh one. Scary shit. Feeling a bit pessimistic about just being able to lift that off the panel. I will continue with these clips and see if I can get them all sort of undone and see if I can lift that chassis and have a panel stay safely on the cardboard. That's my goal. Okay, I think I can lift this off now. I couldn't undo 100% of these clips because the weight of the chassis just goes bang and pushes it shut again. But I don't think I need to, because I've been right around, and when I lift the edge a little bit and look inside, I just see the panel sitting safely on the cardboard, even when that clip comes up. So I think I can just grab this thing and yank it off, and that the panel will be safely underneath. I don't know. How do I put it back on? I don't know. I'll let you know what happens soon. Well, it's been about half an hour of pondering, and I'm still too chicken shit to just heave that chassis up off the panel. I've been thinking about ways I can make some sort of gantry over it to lift it off gradually. Or maybe there's ways I can prop up the corners first just to check that that whole panel is clear. Because if I just heave that off and part of the panel is stuck, it'll just bow it and break it straight away. So I'm not sure what to do. I'm having a beer. So this was a bottle cap, and what I've done is cut the corner piece out. So I can lift up the chassis and prop it up over the LCD panel, which fits into that corner piece underneath. And I can see all the way along that I've got panel down on the cardboard. These clips are only holding in the backlight stuff, so they don't need to come undone for the panel to come out, which is good. So I'm going to put all 4 of these in and see what I can see, and if it looks good, maybe then I'll be brave enough to just lift the thing off. I don't know if you can see much there. If you can prop something up a little bit, you can get some DVD covers and prop it up a little bit more. And what I've found is that it's clear the entire way around. And this clip is actually to hold in backlighting, but for some strange reason there is one part of this clip which seems to be stuck to the display panel, and I don't know why. Had I heaved the chassis off with this clip attached, it would have lifted the panel here and broken it. So all I've got to do is get that clip off along this edge, and then I can lift it off. I'm not very good videoing here. Yeah, you're not going to see much with this. So hopefully after I lift it off I can see why that clip is attached to the panel in one spot only. Done. It's off. And I've had a close look all around the edge of the panel and nothing looks cracked or broken. I'm a little bit worried about how I'm going to keep it clean, because obviously anything that lands on that is going to be on the inside of my screen forever. This is the one offending bit of plastic strip which is just mysteriously adhered to the panel in one point. This point here. And I'm scared to forcibly remove it because this panel is like, it's literally like a 1.5mm piece of glass. So if I try and pull this off, it may break. I don't know if it's just a bit of sticky stuff there or what's going on. I've tried pulling it and it actually drags the whole panel on the cardboard, which I also don't want to do because I don't want little scratches on the front. So I'm not sure if I should try and work that off or leave it there or what. So I might just leave it there. I don't see why not. So now this has got to come apart. At least it isn't delicate. It's just a few layers of diffusion. Should be simple enough to get into. Not going too bad so far. So now I'm removing these black plastic edges that were clipped on. It seemed to be holding the layers of light diffusion in place. There's a couple of bits of tape, but it's mostly just clips. This one's a little bit stuck still. I'm not sure how. I'll figure that out later. And then I can take those sheets out of there and I'll just lay them on this. It'll help keep it clean. So I've taken 3 layers off. I had to remove sticky tape on most of the layers. And I've put them on the panel. You have to be very careful, and I was very careful not to damage these little ribbons that hang out the sides. I have got some fingerprints up there. I don't know if you'd see that. there is a tiny little dent here. You can probably see it just there. Hopefully that doesn't give me a dark spot. This camera doesn't know what the hell it's looking at, of course, because it's weird stuff. See the dent? Now this next layer can't just be ripped off, because it actually, you can see a bit of yellow here, actually is adhered to the cardboard frame underneath. So I'm going to have to get a razor blade or something in there to cut that glue off before I can get that out. Then we should see the leads. You can sort of see them now a little bit. I'm finding it very difficult to separate this last layer of the light diffuser from the cardboard underneath it. I don't want to tear the cardboard frame underneath it. So I'm going to have to leave it and come back with a heat gun, see if I can soften that glue. So that's it for today. So, getting that thicker light diffuser off there was a bitch. Because you can't rip this cardboard, and I did a little bit in some places right around the edge, which shouldn't really matter. But worse than that is I tried to soften that glue with a heat gun, and as soon as you are 1 pico-degree above room temperature, that fucking happens. And I don't know if I can get that flat again. It's the first thing that's gone wrong. Like, I was touching that and it wasn't that hot. So do not use a heat gun. Don't even fart on it. So the next step is to get this cardboard off in one piece. Hopefully that goes a little better. So I've gotten most of this edge off of the chassis. Some parts were quite difficult. And then, I don't know, once you get a bit of practice, it just gets easier. So there's a double-sided tape that they put between this and the cardboard. And if you heat up the chassis, it just pops off the chassis, which I did somewhere here. I didn't want to put heat on this side because this side has these little clips, which will probably melt. And I'm paranoid of melting things now. So maybe I can show you how I do some of this, but it'll probably go wrong once I... Yeah. See, once you get that cardboard coming off, you just got to work it real slow. See, I'm leaving the tape on the metal there. Maybe I should heat this side up. Just got to go real slow. See? Just like that, all the way around. And usually once that happens, I get this and peel the tape off, just in case it sticks down again. I will continue. I don't know how to get these out yet. So these things are pretty easy, you just squeeze them. Usually one side comes off and then the other. And the rest of what's holding this cardboard on is, you'll see the leads are slightly larger than the hole in the cardboard. So it's just like a button. It's just like a shirt button. So you can just kind of it off like so. So, cardboard is off. That wasn't too bad. No rips at all. Just got to go slow with it. And these are all the LEDs. And these are held on by Sony's favourite stuff, double-sided tape. I did watch one video of a guy changing one of these, and his replacement strip had a adhesive already on it, and he just had to peel off the backing and stick it down. Mine doesn't have that, so I don't know if that means mine are dodgy spare parts that someone gathered together or what. I did test all of mine in the kit that I bought, not these ones, and they all worked. So I got to figure out how to get these off. I'll probably just rip them off. I'm not going to sell them because I'm not that dodgy. And then I'll have to stick new ones on in the right spot. In exactly the right spot somehow. Ah, we got little dents here to line them up. That's good. So one of these LEDs should be broken, so I'm going to get a multimeter and hopefully either on the diode setting or one of the ohm settings I can light up the LEDs. And I just want to test every one just to verify that that is the problem. And if these all work and that isn't the problem, you may see me in the news. So, luckily there's these little test points next to each LED, and my multimeter on the diode setting does make it glow. 199 to go, 198 to go, and so on. I was getting worried for a second because I got all the way down to here. This one doesn't light up. That's the one that did it. So I got to unplug all of these. Those little plugs will just pull out. And then I just rip off all of these strips and find some double-sided adhesive that can stick on new ones. And I don't know if this double-sided adhesive has to be really thin, because maybe they need this as a heat sink, you know. Those LEDs make some heat, so I may not be able to just use anything. I'll have to do a bit of research and find out what to use to stick the new ones down. Unless there is a backing on them I can peel off and I just didn't notice. Hopefully that's the case. So this is a strip from my replacement kit that I bought. That's the longer strips. The shorter ones are already stashed up there. I've tested them all. I decided to count them to make sure I've got them all. Thank God I do. And just comparing them, there's some minor differences. Nothing that's a problem. Overlays slightly different colour, and you'll see the newer LEDs actually are slightly diffused. It looks like in the back area, maybe. So maybe it's a different model LED. I don't know, but most importantly they got that hole to line up. So for that, yeah, so that should work. But they definitely don't have a backing I can peel off. So there's no adhesive on them. I don't think they've been ripped out of another set because they all look dead straight, and you'd think you'd bend these a bit pulling them out. I'm about to find that out. So I can rip these out and research what kind of tape I need to stick these ones on. What's really weird here, have a look at this. They're all stuck on. And then just out of the blue, there's this mysterious bit with a texture mark on it. What could that possibly mean? I have no idea. Why would they do that? There's only 2 on all the long strips. And on the short strips there's 1 down there and 3 up here with a textured dot. Very mysterious. Ah, I think I know what it is. Yeah, I do. What it is, you'll see this lead actually has a cavity underneath it, which means it wouldn't get good thermal conduction into the chassis for heat sinking. So that pad is to spread the heat out into the chassis from that lead. Same deal with this one. Same deal with that one. And that one's got a hole under it. That one, I don't know. It looks fine to me. So I better save those now that I know what they're for. Make sure you save them on yours too, if you're following along. Hello. Well, it's been about a month, maybe even more, I forget. I waited a long time for my sticky tape, and this is the double-sided tape, which I need to mount these. It's a special tape that transfers heat, so they claim. So I'm going to do these short strips first, and these are all, most of them are located by these 2 holes with dimples in the chassis. Not dimples, like little protruding stumps. And 2 of them are located by these 2 holes. So I'll need to tape it in a way where they're clear. I'm going to do the short ones first. I'm going to do that now. I'll need both hands. So I think I've figured out the best way to tape these. What I've done, you can see I've got the backing overhanging. I cut off the sticky bit here, trimmed it against that. I've got the overhang of the tape on this side, and then on this side, you'll see that's an aluminium strip, so I just get a razor blade and just trim the tape against the hole on this half, and then cut a little wedge and peel off that wedge of tape, which might seem like a strange thing to do, but what I'm hoping is it will allow me to get this located perfectly without it sticking. Imagine if that all was peeled off, as soon as it touches it's going to stick. Whereas like this I can get it just right. And it locates pretty good on those stumps. And then I should just be able to pull on that all the way up and stick him on. I'll try that. Put my phone somewhere. Let's see if my plan works. thought of this idea when after I stuck a spoiler on the back of my car. It was a very difficult thing to do, and I thought, how do you do that better? Oh shit. Oh shit. I should have shut my mouth. Come here, you. I'm trying not to swear. Nearly got it. Maybe I can start this from the top. Don't want to bend it too much. Maybe if I go a bit slower, that'll work a bit better. Maybe if I don't video it, it'll work better. Let's see. You won't see. I will. So this one's a little bit different. This is one that needs the aluminium foil to conduct the heat out into the chassis. I got a bit of tape here where that goes. So I'll pop him on here. That should pull out. Make sure it's stuck around all the leads so that the heat goes into the chassis. And this one should just pull down. This one should pull up. It's a bit of a leak there. I don't think that'll matter. Stuck. plug in. Click. Click. Progress. I had a little problem with this one. When I was peeling the backing off, it lifted and stuck in the wrong spot, and then I had to rip it off again, and I bent it a little bit. So I'm going to find a way to retest that strip before I put this back together. For the longer strips here, I got a razor and just shaved off any remaining adhesive, which was a bit of a bad idea because you kind of need that. The longer strips don't line up perfectly using these stumps because they're too close together, and you need it to be in just the right spot. And if you have some remnants of adhesive, which you can probably see there, so I need to use that. That's not actually tape, it's just a little bit of glue that's left. I'm leaving it there and I'm using it to line them up perfectly. So when I put the backing tape on these now, I trim it to each edge so that I can line it up with that. So this is the easiest way to tape them. I have some overhang at one end, either this end or this end, doesn't matter. And then the two holes that are used for locating, I just trim out with a razor blade. This is an aluminium strip, so it's pretty easy to just cut against the edge of it. And then when I stick it on here, I use that remnants of adhesive to line it up, as I said, and also to hold it in place. So once I get that in place, it sticks a little bit, just a little bit, and then I peel off the backing all the way along, and that backing moves over this stump quite easily. At first I thought that it wouldn't get around it, but it's not a problem because it's so thin. Maybe I can set this up and you can watch me do one. So that's just held on by that little bit of tackiness underneath in just the right spot. And if you want to check, these leads are the same distance, so you can just get an old strip, check it like that. Now I peel the backing off. It can help to pull it up a little bit, just to make sure you don't break that backing as it comes off. And then I push firmly on the leads because you want those stuck very good. One done. Hello, so I decided to test this lead strip because I was a bit sus on it because I bent it, and it turns out I did actually break it. And I've got a whole stack of working ones that were in there before, although they're old. But I checked them against each other and the colour doesn't quite match up. And you can see they're a little bit different in the leads. And I've figured out exactly where this broke, and you can actually see it. Near this round hole, there's a tiny crack there, and there's a tiny crack there, and it's broken the series connection between these two leads on this side, and it also broke the positive track that runs from this connector all the way down the edge to here. Now, it wasn't that easy for me to get these strips. I had to, because they wouldn't ship to Australia, so I had to bounce them off a friend in the States, and I don't want to do that again for one strip. And if I do order one strip, I guess I'm not going to have a guarantee that it will exactly match what I've got, and I don't really want to wait. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to repair this. I'll see if I can show you that crack. How close can we focus? Focus. Maybe you can just see it. Yeah, you can probably see that. Maybe not on this side. So I'm going to get out a soldering iron and scratch off some of that solder mask and run some little wires and test it thoroughly. If you do have a bad connection, usually some movement will bring it out, which I can do just by pushing on this and from the back of it. And I'll fix that and show you. Okay, now, call me paranoid. I don't remember exactly in what places I bent this thing, so I've just wired all of those series connections, even though I only broke that one, and the positive that normally runs up the side, I've just ran a wire. I've got it on my power supply now. I only put a few milliamps through it because I'm only testing. And as far as I can test this, it appears to be fine. I'm still a little bit scared because, you know, things just usually find a way to fail. If I can flex that from the back, nothing happens. So I'm going to proceed with this. So I've now plugged in all of these looms, all these little connectors. And look at this. Isn't that a nice connector? There's nothing there. So I just had to run the wires onto these points. It either broke off in shipping or they never put it on. They probably did put it on because there's glue dots there. Anyhow, I want to have a sticky beak at that lead driver board and see if I can get all these to light up. Because if I put this whole thing back together and that don't work, well, yeah. So I've decided not to mess around with that driver board. These LEDs, they're arranged into 4 circuits, and each circuit is a series of 5 of these longer strips that conduct at about 20 volts, and then 2 of these shorter strips that conduct at about 13. So it's like around 130 volts to turn them on. So to get that, I've just got a half-wave bridge on a rectifier, half-wave bridge on a variac, and that's a 2K2 for a bit of current limiting, and I just wind up the wick until I get some LEDs on. Then I can have a prod. Okay, so I've tested all 4 circuits and they're all perfectly reliable. I've wiggled things around and pushed and prodded at it, and I'm very confident that all this backlight LED is good. Cardboard is back on. It actually clips really nicely over these bezels. You'll see these bezels have a little pointy bit here and here and here, which holds the paper down. I didn't have any trouble with the position of any of them. Some of them seemed a little bit off center from the hole, but it wasn't a big deal. So the next step is to put these little clips back in, which clip over the lead strip boards. Yep. I haven't put any adhesive yet, but I'll have to put some adhesive on the back of that. On a few spots around the edge. I'll probably use some leftover of that LED strip tape that I used. And I've got to try and straighten that thing out. So this is my plan. I have to be very careful with this because it gets damn hot very fast. I'm going to make this soft, push it flat, and then hold force on it until everything cools down, and then it should stay flat. Or it might just go horribly wrong and get much worse. I don't know. Doesn't take much heat, that's the scary part. This is glass, if you're wondering. Well, I get the feeling this is making things worse, not better. I think what this plastic does is, instead of actually going soft, it just changes into a shape that you don't want it to be in. I think even if I could get that hot enough to make it soft and push it flat, the area around that is just going to warp up. So at the moment I can still get most of this stuck down flat except for this bump. So maybe I'll just take this off with a belt sander or something and just live without a small section of the backlight plastic, and hope that all those other layers on top of this will hide it. I mean, it's right on the edge, so yeah, bummer. So I just got a Dremel and I just cut out the affected bit so that this thing can sit flat, which I think it will. And this will have some loss, which means there'll be a bright spot here. I don't know how bright, but once I put this on, I'm going to put I'll make the LEDs light up like I did before and put a sheet of paper over this and see how visible that bright spot is. If it's too bad, I might see if I can use a bit of this or do something to try and minimize it. Hello, so it's been a while, and what happened is the bit that I cut out of that, I ended up flattening and gluing back in. And I have tried, I thought maybe I could get a broken TV, 75 inches, on eBay, cheap, but there was only one on there that was nearby enough for me to get, and I didn't make a good enough offer on it, so I'm going to stick this together and see what happens. That's the inside, so the LEDs are on this side, and the other side doesn't look as bad. Well, it does like that, but when light comes through it, it doesn't look too bad. I don't know, maybe I'm being optimistic, but anyway, I'm putting the thing back together and I'm going to see what it looks like. I mean, I don't want to buy a broken TV for $100 to fix it and then put it all back together and something else is wrong anyway, so let's see what happens. If it doesn't look too good, I'll put it in the living room for the family to watch, and I'll have a different TV to watch. I don't know, I'll work something out. It's just a TV. Update. I didn't video for a while, but I've got my diffuser back on, and I use these tabs at the top to get all the other layers back on. They just hang there evenly if you hang them off those tabs. And I tape the edges because at some point I've got to lift this whole thing up. That bit of edging that was stuck on the screen over here, I eventually managed to work it off. Minus a tiny bit of glue, I didn't break anything. And that was stuck on with double-sided tape. It was the only piece, one piece, stuck on with double-sided tape. And I had a look at how it clips into this, and I'm going to put that edging back on to here, onto the chassis, before I somehow line it up with that and drop it back onto that. Because it's quite particular about how it clips in here. So if I were to put that on the screen and then try to line up the chassis with that, it would be impossible. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, all of my edging is on. Now originally this screen Oh shit, static. It was actually stuck on in 4 places. You can see that's a bit of double-sided tape, but it just didn't stick very well. When I was pulling it apart, 3 of them just came cleanly off the glass. And that was the one that stuck to the glass. I'm not going to put tape back on there. I'm just going to pick this up and I'm going to sit it on here on these. I made these up. Instead of my bottle caps, I've just cut the lid off an enclosure in half. It's a bit bigger, it's sturdier. 4 of those. Sit it on those and then just line it up, look underneath, line it up and then let it down. And then I've got to get the edging in somehow. I can't just put the edging on because it'll just collide now with the edge of that. So I think what I'm going to do is, once that's on, I should be able to just slide the whole thing until the edge extrudes off this end, and then put that edging on, and then do the same for the other edges. That's my plan. That should hold the panel enough to slide it, I think. I don't think I should need any sticky there. It didn't stick anyway. So, I don't know if the film is going to stay on there, because when I pick that up and lay it down, like all those films, there's a bit of weight in them, and I've just got my tape. I ended up using that double-sided tape, holding it at a few spots around the edge, which might pull off, and that'll all go onto here, and I'll swear, and yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. I got some help for this.
It's not 100% clean. Like there's a few fragments of dust, but
it's probably clean enough. Now, what might go wrong?
Yeah.
That film, I've got double-sided tape around the edge.
Okay.
But the weight of that film may break that tape, and it may just fall out of there and go everywhere.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. So if that happens, we just got to put it back.
Okay. So you can do it again.
Yeah. This plastic stuff, I don't know, try not to break it off. There's metal there as well. That should be right. That should be right. Maybe we just fly it down now and see if that film is going to fall out.
Oh, not.
Might be business. It's looking good. Onto the things.
Yep.
You right?
Yep, done. This one could go in a bit more. Yeah, that's good. Like it's not lined up or anything, but it's there.
Good. I wonder if I should line it up now and get it down so that, because that film is now pulling on the tape.
So if you had to film this, doing it, and you get like 3 million views, you could have earned $18,000 US. It's like 25 grand.
I'm not real entertaining kind of guy.
Doesn't matter. People
I'm just
love
like,
this
this
shit.
is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it this way. Like, I'm
Yeah.
real boring sort of
No
voice.
one cares. They just want to see, like, you know, like those teardown videos.
Yeah.
People love, they froth for this shit, man.
Well, what do you think? You guys frothing? It's videoing now.
Yeah. So, what exactly do you need?
So, this thing is sitting on those. My sticky tape is hanging onto the film. And what I've discovered is that when you get that chassis centered over the panel, see this rim of this connector on this old strip? if I slide that in, the chassis lines up with that rim. Oh. Yeah, if you look straight down, the chassis lines up with that rim. Nearly. And I've just gone all the way around, just nudging it bit by bit until it's the same. And it's time to let the thing down. And if I'm wrong, it's going to crush the edge of the panel and break it. And if I'm right, that won't happen. I'm a little bit worried about this edge because the edging, the plastic edging here is actually different because it's the bottom of the set. So maybe centering the edge of that with the panel and this edge with the panel isn't actually where it needs to be. But this thing's going down. Wish me luck. So this is down. I did hear one bang, which scared me. I thought maybe it had broken the screen. But I think it was just these plastic clips going into place. So as you can see, I've slid this whole TV. Hopefully I didn't scratch it. And now I can have a look under here. And it didn't break. At least all the way along this edge. Nothing's broken. So now that that edge is overhanging and isn't broken, I'll put these corner clips back on. And there was a silver one here. This one, I think. And then tape these up as they were. And then I should be right to put the edge capping back on this. And then I can push the other end off, do the same over there. Push this end off, do the same. This end I'm a little bit worried about these bits because they'll push into the screen. Yeah, it's a little bit scary on the longer edges because when you push it over the edge, the weight of the chassis ends up on the panel. Well, some of it, a little bit of it. Yeah, I'm a bit scared about that. Maybe once I get this edge on and that edge on, I can work out something else to lift up this edge. Maybe I can get something under it, I don't know. So, this capping is screwed on and I've nudged it over there. And now I'm going to have a look at this end of the panel to see if I've smashed it. It's a bit suspenseful. Oh, let's look. You can look with me. Okay, so far, no smashings. Don't want any smashings in there. Oh, what happened here? a bit of shit there. Nothing smashed. Jesus, right on the edge. Jeez, that was close. Wow. Actually, it might have gone to that edge when I pushed it over that way, because it would have been pushing on this edge. Anyway, nothing's broken. Let's go back together. So left and right capping are on, screwed down. Now I have to do the top, and I'm kind of terrified that when I push this edge over the edge, that chassis is going to bow down and break the panel. But I'm racking my brain and I can't think of another way to do this. I think I have to try. The edge is over, and it doesn't seem to have bowed significantly more than it was before. So I'm going to have a look underneath. See if I've broken it. The scary part. Nothing broken. Good. Okay, top capping is on. I'm feeling pretty good about this. It's all downhill, I think. I don't remember any of this stuff, so I'm going to have to watch my old videos. Home stretch. I've just been following the early videos and stepping backwards. The only thing I did wrong is when I first put these in, I forgot about these. Got little tabs that need to fit into the plastic. Remember I said one of them slid out? So had put those on and then that on, and then I had to take that off and redo these. But the rest is all really easy. Little black screws in here. Four silver ones in here. So now the cover's going on. I'm going to put the power lead back in it. Cover's behind there. The only screws I have left, all these came out of the cover. Focus. And I have 5 of these. No idea why. Oh, make that 7. No idea why. Nope. Well, hopefully they're not too important. Cover is on. There is one screw left over, and it says it goes here, but there was nothing there because I left that out, which goes in there. But I'm not pulling it apart again, so it doesn't need that. Now I'm keen to get it up and plug it in and turn it on. Okay, this is it. Oh. There's some fancy shit going on there. Looks promising so far. Oh wow. Hang on, I can't see the remote. I need the home button. Home. I really want to get something to light up on the left. Maybe if I go TV and I can get snow. There's nothing plugged into it. So I got something up. This is actually like I was scared it'd just look like shit and it'd just show a heap of junk and I'd throw the remote through the screen and tell someone to come and take it out of here. But no, this is good. And that little stuff up on the backlight, it's like if you were watching a movie. I mean, if you've got an even thing there, you'd notice it, but I don't think I'm going to notice that in movies. It looks worse on this camera than it does in real life. It's not bad at all. Oh, I can even see little bits of my sticky tape. See these bright bits? And that bright bit? Only on an angle. Straight on you don't see it. No, I'm happy. Good.